stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and I want to welcome you to part 2 of this episode of the Unpleasant Blind Guy on EDL Radio. Now remember, if you want to contact me with comments, questions, show suggestions, Awesome American suggestions, I'm available at UBG Contact on Twitter, or I can also be found as Dave Milner or Agador, that's Aggedor, on Mublet, the Tea Party Community, Spreely, Minds, MeWe, or Gab. Now let's begin. Welcome back to the English Defense League radio show with your host, Jeff Spider Mitchell. Jeff.
Well, that was interesting. It was lovely to hear Tommy so laid back talking to Ezra. I mean, as soon as you see him come out, he was, well, you know, we didn't know what to expect. Most of us, people who've been to visit him said he looks well. But you know, you got to see yourself. You got to judge yourself. And I would say, really and truthfully, that if it had been any other situation, we might have seen a different Tommy. But I think the governor took his job very seriously to make sure, and that's what Tommy said, that he addressed his issues and his basically his human rights, and done a good job. And so did the officers there. So that's what Tommy is really talking about. It's that another situation, another prison, if it was on Lee, it would have been a scenario. But it's quite obvious with the how bad it looked against the prisons that the governor of Belmarsh really had something to prove, that not all prisons are the same as what they are on Lee, which put the prison system in a very, very bad light. When you see the state what Tommy come out, and you know he didn't realise until he actually, it's like he'd been on the battlefield. You don't realise the severity of what's been going on until you actually, in the quiet and the peace and the tranquility of your own home, that's when it comes to light. And then you realise how damaged he'd been with the whole situation. And it would have damaged anybody. Don't think Tommy's made of stern stuff. And something we've got to say about Mr. Robinson. He's made a stir of stuff. He's always said that. He's always been a born fighter. He doesn't know anything else. And if it wasn't for that, the bravery and the courage of Tommy, he would have really found it. Any other man would have probably found it really a difficult path. But because Tommy, I think, as we say, he's been chosen to this path, that it's a path sometimes where someone has got to go and someone's chosen. And it seems like Tommy is that person, you know, to show the way, to show the light, and what he's doing and what he's speaking about. And that resonates. And as I say, all these people that have been doing, speaking bad over the years about Tommy, talking bad about the EDL, it'll come to pass that we was the basically the bastions of our country and the freedoms. And sadly, we're seeing that diminishing as we talk. We see freedom of speech is eroding away, but we will fight. We will fight every step of the way, and we will get freedom of speech back. And it might take a fight. Once again, the people come to the forefront and stand up, like what Mr. Robinson's doing, and fight a good fight. There you go, Dave. But I was quite blessed with seeing Tommy in so good spirits, and I did notice certain things that you realise that he did suffer a bit with the solitary thing, different things. I noticed, and don't know if you noticed, but there's certain things characteristic of people that you pick up on, and I noticed that with Tommy. It's not quite as bad as I thought it would be. I'm no expert on these issues, but it has affected him. But only time will tell. And thank goodness that the the officers there basically was looking out for Tommy, watching his back basically, and so was the warden, the governor of the prison. That's what I wanted to say about that, Dave. That was brilliant, that first part, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
Well, you're welcome, Jeff. You know, my own observations, seeing him sitting there talking with Ezra Levant and watching him walk out of the prison, what a contrast that was to see him doing that as opposed to seeing him walking out of HMP only. I mean, I commented at the time, Jeff, and you know this, that he looked like one of the POWs from the Vietnam War, one of the American POWs from the Vietnam War that came back to the United States when you saw them on the tarmac when they first flew in back to the United States.
It was heartbreaking, Dave, wasn't it? It was heartbreaking, brother.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that.
He looked emaciated. I don't have the vision to tell what was in his eyes or anything like that, Jeff. I leave that to y'all sighted folks. But I could tell that he, anyone could tell that he had been, at the very least mentally tortured. And Jeff, you brought up a great point early on in your comment when you said that this was almost a mission on the part of the UK prison system, because they've taken it on the chin the past few years. Not only the way they treated, Tommy Robinson, but the way they treated Kevin Crean, and the way they treated other
Crean
people.
Ended up being martyred in that prison. Let's call him for what he is. Kevin Crean, in my eyes, is a martyr for the cause. A very young man, 34, 35, and if you talk about when the Muslims say martyrs, I would say that Kevin Crean was a martyr for what he stood for. He's always in my prayers, and so is his family. Carry on, Dave. Sorry, mate. I just wanted to clarify that my thoughts with Kevin Crean was the first martyr to die under the system. There you go, Dave.
Well, you're right, Jeff, and I share everything you say. It was because of his beliefs that he was put into that horrible system, and then they just let him deteriorate and let him die. And as I was saying, that was part of the black eye that the British prison system had given itself. Okay, and they did, as you said, Jeff, have something to prove with the treatment of Tommy Robinson this time, and I'm very glad to see that they knew this time. The world's eyes was watching, wide open. That's it. They was waiting for anything. The world news, the proper, journalists out there, to not be mainstream maggots, what we call them, but the main world journalists, the citizen journalists of the world was watching. The whole globe was watching as things unfolded with Tommy. Please go ahead, Dad. Just want to say that, mate. Yes, they were. And I was just about to finish my point and say that I'm glad that they did treat him well. And I hope that this is a signal in the future, not just for Tommy Robinson. Praise God, he never has to go to prison again, but for any other patriots. It's time for equal.
There, isn't he? Let's not forget he had 15 months. Don't know how long he's got to serve. Very similarly, he got beaten at one of our Telford demo when they actually, he got his eye cut, and then the next thing you hear was that Dave had ended up at the magistrates and they sent to prison 15 months. So yes, we have got other people. We don't know exactly the circumstances how Dave's keeping, but he's a true patriot, he's a true warrior. So my thoughts and my prayers also go out to our guys that's behind bars, because they like to sling us behind bars and just basically let the system do with them, do with us what they please. But yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, as I was trying to say, it is time for equal treatment under the law for everyone, even the people the UK government doesn't like, because things like this keep on happening. You're not going to be able to keep it under wraps. The whole world is watching, to quote the hippies from the 1968 Democrat Convention. But Jeff, if you're ready, we'll begin this 12-minute segment. This will be part 2 of the interview. And we'll just do this. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. That's right.
All right. You guys are listening to the English Defense League radio show, and this is part 2 of Ezra Levant's interview with Tommy Robinson, done on the 14th of this month. Here you go.
You know, this morning when you came out of prison, I think there was only one other group of journalists there. There might have been a second, but the Daily Mirror was there. And it was remarkable to me. The reporter from the Daily Mirror was not just, I like a reporter that asks a tough question. That's the only interesting kind of reporter there is. But he wasn't asking you a question. He was prosecuting you. He was telling you why you were wrong and why the system was wrong.
When he doesn't know.
He's not well briefed in the facts, but that's fine. A lot of journalists are ignorant. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked anymore, but he was saying, no, this is excellent. You specifically said if this happened in Russia or Venezuela, we'd be shocked. He said, no, this is exactly... I couldn't believe a journalist was exuberant about your censorship in prison.
They're activists rather than journalists.
But I haven't seen one journalist in the entire United Kingdom, other than a couple of guys at Breitbart, not one at the Telegraph, at the Times, at the Mirror, at the Mail, at the Sun, not one.
Well, my frustrating thing is, you said he was from the Mirror. The Mirror, whilst I was in prison, the Mirror ran a story, which actually the governor come in with Ross Kemp with the newspaper to say, and it's front page of the newspaper. And there was this story put out in the Daily Mirror. So the audacity of that journalist to come from the same paper, which absolutely made up a story.
They said that you were knocked out in one punch by a 70-year-old pensioner in the showers. I got that news in Canada. It was front page news in the Daily Express, and I think the Mirror picked it up.
The Star, the Mirror, the Radio.
The Star, that's right. It was the Daily Star. And I thought to myself, and you were incommunicado. I thought that can't be right. But maybe it was, if it's on the front page of the Star.
Front page, the upsetting thing to me is that I ring home and my kids have been sent home. Yeah. So my kids think I'm being attacked in jail, which isn't true. But the other thing is that story's gone out. No, they didn't even ring the prison. It's completely like, and the purpose for that, if you read the story, there's 2 pages in the paper as well. If you read that story, it paints an image of who I am. It says that I come into prison thinking I'm the big man.
Yeah, they said you walked in with a swagger.
And it said I was trying to intimidate an old age pensioner. And then it said, so that is the image that they're portraying. Another story went out whilst I was in there saying I bought drugs in the gym and I bought drugs in the gym and I was rushed to hospital for taking the detergent or something.
And this was published?
It was all published, yeah. And they're just completely made up.
And obviously they didn't even pick up the phone to check.
No, because I asked the governor. He's like, because when he bought the paper, he goes, "This isn't good. It's not good for our jail." And I said, "It's not going to do me." I said, I read one of these a month." Yeah. And I said, "Did they ring you?" He goes, "No, they meant me. They didn't ring us at all. They meant me." Yeah. And then he said, because one of my supporters had gone into the reception of the prison that morning when it came out, saying, "There'll be hundreds of us coming back here." He actually said it puts my staff in danger.
Well, and it makes the prison look like a place with no discipline and with random violence.
Do you know what? It was.
Maybe it is, but it wasn't in these cases.
Well, from what I saw of it, it was it had complete discipline. And the governor. So in that first week, when I first come into the jail, I thought 23.5-hour lockup. Everything's going to be. I'm not going to get in the gym. So and there was a protest outside, obviously planned, which I wanted. And then I know that then some people on the outside, for the best intentions. I know Shazia Hobbs was contacting my wife And I'm on a prison phone that's constantly monitored, so I can't say things on the phone. I cannot be sitting in a prison cell on a phone organising protests or things outside. So I know there's a protest happening, which I want to happen, because I wanted to be in a position as such to bargain with the governor, which the governor then come and saw me and said, look, this is disruptive to the jail, we can't have this. And I said, all I want is my rights recognised. I'll make sure no one comes near this prison. And I know at the time there was a lot of suspicion, like I know Shazia, for all of the right intentions, was thinking that a protest outside the jail would upset all the other inmates, which would be problematic for me, but not knowing that I know that I'm inside the prison and no one's seeing me anyway. So there was,
Isn't that interesting? Well, did you have your rights respected? I remember, I think in my second visit to you, you said you had not received mail for a month. Now, I made a fuss, and shortly thereafter you got it. That upset me that you didn't get your mail. Did you finally get everything?
I finally got the mail. So essentially, the number, I don't complain about much, and once I saw, all I said to the governor when I come in, I just want to use the gym. Just get me in the gym. And he did. On a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning, before the staff started work, so some of the staff would come in early to walk me through to the gym. So
to the real gym?
To the actual gym, with some weights. So I'd be in the gym on my own. Then just a little, so that's 7:30 they're meant to get you. So this is little things that will just absolutely, so at 7:30 they're meant to get you, and then so it might be a Thursday morning, I'm sitting there at 7:30 thinking this is the only time I'm getting off of this thing anyway, so I want to do, and then mine turn up. So there was about 4 times when they didn't turn up, which then, when they open the door, I want to kill someone. Now, I just want to get in the gym.
I remember in Onley, they cancelled one of your lawyers' meetings, and they...
Yeah, this wasn't, there's nothing, I would say that nothing, even when people were late, I would say that, in fact, after meeting the governor, they done everything, so nothing untoward.
Right,
with regards, and my phone calls, with regards to the mail, what they said is your mail's up here, and it has to be read. It has to go through counter-terrorism. I think that counter-terrorism could have a lot more better time if they stopped looking at the letters.
There's 23,000 jihadis to track.
Reading letters from my mum and my supporters, who the average age is a 60-year-old female, and actually look at some Islamic jihadis. But counter-terrorism has to go through my mail, so everything has to be censored. So that's what they said. But to be honest, once I made the point and pushed the point to the governor, instantly they were in on overtime doing my mail. And I read anyone who sent me a letter, I read every one of them.
Now, your first time in Onley, you had, I think, 6 big duffel bags of mail. How many do you have this time?
We'll check out, I think about 14. And I mean, for me, it's a emotional and fulfilling to read people's stories of their difficulties in supporting me, to read their difficulties at work. What is apparent is that everyone feels silence, and to read what they've gone through to show support for me, and to read how much they care. So I'm reading all these stories, and to read on my campaign, in my MEP campaign, I was going working class to working class to working class. Judging by my mail, it's a very different mix-up of support, and a lot of these supporters are supporters that can't come out. They tell me their work, their jobs. I feel like there's so many people I know now, because some people message me daily. Certain people just think, I know your whole life. I hope you enjoy your dancing. I used to, I'd spend my day. I'd spend 5 hours a day reading.
Well, I guess that keeps you company if you don't have human company. Now, in Onley, you didn't have any voices other than the shouting at you. So they didn't give you a TV. Did you have a TV this time?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I didn't really. I turned the TV on in the evening if I watch it, because as I said, during the day I've done an hour on that bike every morning.
Well, that's great. So you got those emails from email@prisoner.com. Those were coming through.
Yeah, and then I've got. I'll show you after this. We'll have a quick look. The cards I've got from all over the world. It's amazing. Do you know what I mean? And it was also quite satisfying to think. To read the stories, and many of the mail would be from people who only started following me in the last 12 months. And many of them would start saying, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I never broke the law, I've always had trust in our system, in judiciary, I cannot believe what I've just witnessed over the last 12 months. So, in the sense, I think, if whatever your objective was within this prison sentence, which I generally believe each time would be to try and just break me, is you actually waking more people up. You've enlightened more people to the corruption of the media, the corruption. I'm actually, Boris Johnson, I'm quite happy to see the same government as, I actually like Boris Johnson. I think he's shown himself as a very strong leader, but Geoffrey Cox, the Attorney General, who's still an Attorney General, I think that government now knows what it's like when you get a politicised decision from a court.
Yes, another truth.
You've now got a politicised decision from the Court of Scotland, and now you know how it feels, because my decision at the Old Bailey was politicised. Anyone who just, you tried to prosecute me, I got out of jail. We went before the head judge of the Old Bailey, he kicked out. What they then done is just replace the head judge of the Old Bailey and put me back in.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, they'll keep trying. If they don't try this, they'll try that. I mean, I read your book, Enemy of the State, and you know, the secret police have a saying, show us the man, we'll find the crime. Like, if you investigate a guy enough, you'll find something on him, even if it's an overdue library book. And I sense that that's the approach they're taking with you, to waste your money, to waste your time, to stress you out, to stress out your family, to fatigue your supporters. I think that they are turning the process into the punishment. 66 days in prison is a punishment too, but that's actually a lot shorter. I mean, you've been fighting this stupid contempt of court thing for 16 months. Even when I was in there, because I was getting anxious and worrying about coming out, because I'm generally thinking, what next? What next? Because what's coming next? You know? And I don't know if I was worrying more because I'm on isolation, and that makes you worry, or because I'm getting older. But I was thinking, Jesus, man, what is coming next from their point? What are they going to do next? Well, let me ask you this, and again, if this is something confidential, just say so, and I'll move on. Before you went in on an American TV show, InfoWars, you said you were interested in asylum in America. And that was an interesting talking point, but my point of view is, if you're interested in asylum, apply for asylum. Now, you can say as for pass if you don't want to.
I am 100% interested in my wife and children being safe, and that would
in a foreign country.
In the United States of America. I love it. With regards to myself, there's a fight going on in this country, and I want to be part of it.
I can't imagine you in any. I mean, taking Tommy out of the UK is like taking de Gaulle out of France. There's no such thing as de Gaulle outside of France. I don't even know if you could exist outside the UK.
No. And so again, times change and things change, and my worry again was when I was in jail that something could happen at my house or something. You know what I mean? When I'm not there. So all of those things play in. Just about.
Was it easier on your family this time because they had the phone calls and the visits?
It was easier on them, and we know we have the support. So yeah, my son handled it a lot better. My youngest didn't as much, but yeah.
And there you go. Welcome back to the English Defense League radio show with your host, Jeff Spider Mitchell. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was great. Second part, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
as
the thing that stands out with that second part was Tommy letting people know how much mail he actually did. And I think we heard that he'd had about 14 bags of mail, which doesn't surprise us at all, because he has got world support, global support, and of course we was putting out information every week, all the time that he was in prison. So we was, so he got lots and lots of mail. We even put some on the wall, believe it or not. That's where he said that he got them stuck on the wall, and he got lying on his bed, and he'd be reading them on the wall. And he found it very I think the word that he was mean to say was humbling, to listen to some of the people's stories that was supporting Tommy of what most people got to endure being a patriot, especially with the works concerned, and how so many people have lost jobs with that situation. But that's what we find, don't we, Dave? And we always have done. But what I did think with what Ezra was really stood out was the Daily Mirror, the almost like prosecution pointing a finger, you was in the wrong, blah, 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 not being impartial, not being sitting on the wall, but attacking Tommy when he come out. Absolutely just being there to attack. Because, as I said a while ago, the mainstream media now are all about trying to disrespect and to talk down Tommy, to make him put in a bad light. All these stories about he'd been decked by an old age pension was totally rubbish, and the paper even took that down. So it shows you that the mainstream media are true liars, and they only do what fits their narrative. That's what they're told to do by the powers be, because they're controlled by the state, as we know. But Ezra picked up on that, didn't he? He picked up on the way that the Daily Mirror, and the Daily Mirror is falling like a stone in a pond, basically. Who reads it? God knows the mentality of the people that read garbage like that, or what the so-called mainstream media is putting out there, because it's. I wouldn't even salt my parrots and put those pages at the bottom of my parrots page. I'm sure that he would both vomit all over it. To be honest with you, Dave.
It'd be animal abuse, Jeff.
That's something that stood out. Part two of that. Oh my God, yes, Dave, you're right. I've got to take a break. I just you want my light, pal? Dave, I'm going to pass it back to you. That's my response to the second part. And back to you, Dave, while I call back in, brother.
All right. And, folks, while Jeff calls back in, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys that the English Defense League radio show, I'll comment on part two when we come back on the other side here. The English Defense League radio show is associated with the SHR Media Network. There are a lot of good shows on SHR Media, and one of them includes my own, which is the Unpleasant Blind Guy, but I've been helping out Jeff here doing UBG on EDL. My show times, and what happens is we repeat these shows in little 30-ish minute bites that are easier to handle. We repeat these shows on the Unpleasant Blind Guy page at Spreaker.com, and you can get those at regular show times. Monday through Friday, my regular show times are 1 p.m. Eastern in the United States, and that's 6 p.m. in the UK, and also on Saturdays at midnight in the United States and 5 a.m. in the UK. And my shows are also repeated at the SHR Media YouTube page, so you can also get them from there, and the Western Free Radio Network. And if you happen to be listening to this particular program from the Unpleasant Blind Guy page at Spreaker.com or the other places, remember that this program here can be heard live on Thursdays and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern in the United States, and that's 8:30 p.m. in the UK. It's great. We have a great association with SHR Media, and right now, before we get into my thoughts on part two, we're going to play these SHR Media promos, these new shows, and there'll be a new SHR Media set of promos coming out very soon. So look at that. But guys, for now, this is 3.5 minutes of these promos for these great programs. You are listening to the English Defense League radio show. Here you go.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunnett. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunnett.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And that is it for this time. Next time, Part 3. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye.
The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2019. Anno Domini.